They asked about the pregnancy, how everyone found out. She had just discovered she was pregnant. She called and told us herself. It was her third pregnancy, and because of her medical history, it immediately raised concerns. She had complications with Bella. She had complications with Celeste. So naturally, we were worried about her health. We understood the desire to try for a boy, but our concern was always whether her body could safely handle another pregnancy. From what we were told, they had been trying to conceive. And when she found out she was pregnant, she did what she always did. She made a big moment out of it. Every pregnancy came with a surprise for Chris. A reveal. Something special. Shirts made for everyone. A message. A moment caught on camera. She had recorded it all. Thousands of photos and videos on her phone. In one of them, you can see him walk into the room, excited, smiling, reacting to the news that they were expecting again. That Monday, when she returned, she told Chris. She also mentioned a sealed envelope from the doctor. We kept asking her, "Do you know what you're having yet?" And she kept saying she didn't know. We knew she had already gone to the doctor before she left, but she insisted she didn't have the results. Later, we were told there was a sealed letter from the doctor that revealed the baby's gender. We never saw it. So the question lingered. Whose idea was it to have a third child? Was it hers, or was he pushing for it? They were hoping for a boy. He wanted a boy, even though Celeste was already a little tomboy. They asked when the last time was that contact happened before she left. I could check my phone and give the exact time. I had texted her before she flew to Arizona, just wishing her a safe trip back. We talked every day. Every single day. FaceTime, without missing a day. If I missed a day, it felt unbearable not seeing the kids. Even when Chris was home, I still FaceTimed. If she wasn't there, I still called. Every night, unless I got home late from work and the babies were already asleep. 7 years after the world watched one of the most devastating family crimes unfold, the name Chris Watts is back in the spotlight. Not because of a new confession, but because of a rumor spreading rapidly. A claim so disturbing that, if true, it could change how this case is understood forever. It started quietly. Online forums, private messages, leaked prison correspondence. Then came a letter, allegedly written by Chris himself. The message was vague but intentional. It suggested he wasn't completely alone that night. Those words sent shockwaves through a community that believed the case was long over. Investigators once called it open and shut. But what if it wasn't? What if the truth was buried even deeper than where Shanann and the girls were found? There had always been unanswered questions. Deleted phone data, missing texts, timelines that never fully lined up. And now, reports from inside prison described Chris as anxious, paranoid, increasingly withdrawn, as if afraid someone might finally expose everything. In the background, speculation grew louder. Could the woman who vanished from public view after the murders have been more involved than anyone knew? This episode begins pulling those layers apart, examining the claims, the evidence, the theories, to understand what might really be happening behind prison walls. Because if this rumor holds any truth at all, the Watts case may not be finished yet. It began with whispers, a few cryptic posts online, then a photograph shared in a private group, a letter said to be handwritten by Chris Watts, sent from Dodge Correctional Institution. The paper was worn, folded, stained with time, but one sentence stood out. I wasn't the only one there that night. At first, no one believed it. The handwriting matched previous verified letters, but the content felt too dangerous, too revealing. Then another letter surfaced, sent weeks later to a different person, carrying the same tone of fear and regret. Chris claimed others helped set events in motion. That Shanann never saw it coming. Was it an attempt to gain sympathy, or the beginning of something much larger? As the letters were analyzed, online investigators began connecting patterns. Inmates reported that Chris had grown distant, spending nights writing. Guards confirmed he received large volumes of mail, some supportive, some disturbingly obsessive. Even more unsettling, his behavior had changed. He told a chaplain his nightmares had become unbearable, that the truth always finds its way out. Theories spiraled. Was he referring to the woman he was involved with, or someone else entirely? Whatever the answer, something about these letters felt different. Calculated, risky, and for the first time in years, law enforcement quietly began paying attention again. When investigators first questioned the woman connected to him, she maintained she knew nothing. She said she believed he was trapped in a loveless marriage and planning to leave. Her tone was calm, practiced, Emotional, but controlled. The room was recorded. Audio and video. The agents reintroduced themselves. A case involving Chris Watts. And then her father was asked to identify himself. That's our address on file, along with a phone number. Thank you. And Nichol, for the recording, can you please introduce yourself? She provides her address and contact details. The investigator confirms the location, clarifying the direction of the street. Then he gently asks her to speak a little louder so the recorder can clearly capture everything. He acknowledges that she's exhausted and under stress, reassuring her that they won't keep her longer than necessary. He reminds her she has already spoken to others and that she came involuntarily. She requested the pickup, and they brought her in at her own choosing. She's told clearly she can leave at any time. She doesn't have to answer any question she's uncomfortable with. If she wants to stop, she can simply say so. She is not being questioned as a criminal suspect. They explain they are only trying to understand her relationship with Chris, what she knew about him, his family, and the events connected to him. They ask whether she knows him as Chris or Christopher. Then they ask about the phone number she used to contact him. She says she deleted it, that she cut him completely out of her life. She recalls it was a number with a 910 area code and says investigators already have it. She mentions she may have given it to another officer the day before. If she heard it again, she might recognize it, but she no longer keeps it saved. Years later, as new letters began to surface, cracks appeared in the story everyone believed was finished. In one prison letter, Chris hinted that she wanted everything done before the baby arrived. He never used her name, but those who followed the case understood who he meant. Shannon was 15 weeks pregnant when she was killed, a detail that haunted the investigation and the public alike. Was Chris suggesting that someone had pressured him to end his family before the child was born? Investigators had once examined her phone. They found deleted browser history and late-night searches. Questions about permanently erasing messages, whether police could recover deleted data, and how phone records are traced. She had even searched the name of another infamous mistress connected to a high-profile murder long before Shannon disappeared. At the time, those searches were brushed off as curiosity. Now they felt chilling. As the letters leaked, old case files resurfaced, reports, photos, timestamps. Nothing officially new, but digital forensic analysts began pointing out gaps. Missing data. Unexplained hours. Messages erased from both phones around the same time. Coincidence or coordination? Chris's words echoed through the letters. She started this. She said it would be easier if it looked like they left me. Was he shifting blame? Or finally revealing something he had buried? The deeper the case was examined, the murkier it became. When detectives closed the case in 2018, they believed they had everything: texts, GPS data, surveillance footage, even a confession. But as time passed, subtle irregularities emerged. Some were easy to miss. Others were impossible to ignore. In one newly scrutinized security clip from Shannon's home, recorded hours before her death, Chris can be seen pacing inside. But in the reflection of a window, there appears to be movement outside. Someone standing just beyond the reach of the porch light. Investigators dismissed it as shadows. Online analysts didn't. Then there were the phone records. Shannon's last incoming message, minutes before she arrived home from her trip, showed no associated number, only unknown. Around that same hour, a phone tied to Nichol briefly pinged near Frederick, Colorado, then went silent for nearly 5 hours. Later analysis showed that gap aligned closely with the timeline of the murders. Could it be coincidence? Possibly. But when a prison letter referenced someone waiting outside, coincidence began to feel like denial. Rumors circulated that data had been quietly reviewed again after renewed public pressure. A prison insider even claimed Chris became visibly panicked when he heard the word reinvestigation. No agency confirmed this. But in a case this infamous, silence often speaks louder than statements. Weeks after the first letters leaked, a third one appeared, darker, more desperate, unmistakably written in Chris's handwriting. Unlike the others, this one didn't just imply. It accused. He wrote that the burden of the truth had become unbearable. "They think I acted alone," he claimed. But someone else was there. He alleged that she helped plan it, that she told him how to make it quick. The handwriting was uneven, as if his hand trembled. He claimed she knew everything, that she didn't want to lose what they had, that she believed Shannon would never let him go, and that if he didn't act, their future could never begin. For years, People debated whether Chris was protecting someone out of obsession or guilt. This letter suggested something far darker, that their involvement was deeper than anyone had known. Some dismissed it as manipulation, a killer grasping for attention. Others noticed patterns, phrasing similar to earlier confessions, the same tone of remorse, but details that matched known evidence. Then came the final line. "She promised me I wouldn't have to live with this forever." That sentence raised an unthinkable question. Was someone outside still trying to silence the truth? When the letter spread online, it ignited the true crime community overnight. Forums erupted. Podcasts debated. Videos analyzed every word. Law enforcement said nothing, and the silence only fueled speculation. Reporters contacted state authorities, asking whether the letters were being authenticated. Inside prison, Chris reportedly became agitated, pacing, refusing food, clutching a Bible, whispering prayers. Then came another rumor, an untraceable letter addressed simply to Christopher. No return address. One sentence. "Don't say my name." No one could confirm its authenticity, but it intensified the fear. Shanann's family responded publicly, calling the letters an insult to the dead. They said no claim could undo the truth. 3 lives were gone. Yet behind the grief was unease. If the letters were real, someone else might still be hiding in plain sight. When Shanann's parents read the letters, they were devastated, but not shocked. They had always believed Chris still had lies left to tell. What hurt most was that even now, he couldn't accept full responsibility. Her father said quietly but firmly, "My daughter is gone because of him. No one else." Behind the scenes, their attorney reportedly demanded clarification from officials. Were the letters real? Was scrutiny being avoided? The response was brief, no comment. But sources claimed certain materials had been submitted for review. Chris, meanwhile, reportedly broke down during a call with his mother, saying everything was coming back and he couldn't handle it anymore. She urged him to pray, privately admitting she didn't know what to believe. 2 families, forever divided, one grieving, one searching for answers. 7 years after that August morning, the case refuses to rest. Every letter, every whisper, every claim reopens wounds that never healed. Inside prison, guards have noticed a change: paranoia, anxiety, fear. Chris believes people want to silence him, that he's being watched, that the truth won't be allowed out. Whether that's guilt or delusion remains unknown. Meanwhile, investigators quietly observe as millions dissect each rumor. None of the letters have been officially verified. The woman at the center of the speculation remains unseen, possibly living under a new identity, somewhere far from public view. What makes this story so disturbing isn't only what happened, but how it continues to unfold. Every time it seems finished, another question emerges. Some believe it's manipulation. Others believe justice may still be incomplete. But one truth cannot be argued. 3 innocent lives were lost, and the darkness surrounding that night still lingers in every unanswered question. And until every shadow is examined, this case will never truly be at rest.